What's up, everyone? Welcome to your very first movie review on the channel in 2023. This right here is my review of M3GAN. The movie stars Allison Williams as Gemma. She's a wildly talented roboticist who develops toys at a super popular toy company. That's where she's working on something called M3GAN, which stands for Model 3 Generative Android. Basically, think the most lifelike doll imaginable. When Gemma's sister is killed in an accident, she gains custody of her niece, Cady. Gemma once poured everything she had and then some into her work, but now she's got a kid to look out for. But rather than do that herself, she sees it as an opportunity to both test out M3GAN and also have M3GAN look after Cady as well. The trouble is, the M3GAN AI becomes self-aware, and the closer the doll gets to Cady, the more dangerous she becomes. This movie is just zany and brilliant, a real pitch-perfect balance of horror and comedy here, which really isn't all that much of a surprise when you consider the person at the helm of this film is Gerard Johnstone, who did a movie called Housebound, which I absolutely love and highly recommend checking out. It is a must-watch right there. Johnstone and really every single person involved in the production of M3GAN seem to know what kind of movie they're making, what kind of story they're telling. They take it just seriously enough to spark real terror and deliver effective scares, but also not too seriously to ever take away from the absolute wackiness of what's happening. M3GAN is a very, very good time, and I imagine I'll be watching and rewatching the movie by myself at home a good deal, just because it's a lot of fun. But if you get the opportunity to see this in the theater with a packed house, I highly recommend doing so, because if my screening experience was any indication, this movie really could feel like the ultimate communal watch. So yes, M3GAN is outrageous, but it's also kind of not. There are a slew of moments in the movie when Gemma opts to plop her niece down with a device rather than have an actual human interaction with her, and while some of those moments are, yes, over the top, there are also a whole bunch that are extremely close to reality for a whole lot of kids nowadays. Kids that are growing up attached to, let's say, an iPad. I also wouldn't be surprised if there are some toy collectors out there watching this video who have once had to explain to a kid, like, yeah, this thing, it is a toy, but you can't play with it because it's a collectible. This movie pokes fun at a lot of dynamics like that, and it does so in a pretty thoughtful way. So again, M3GAN is a real good time, but it's also not just a fleeting thrill. It actually does make some very valid points. It does so via the extreme, but I find that sometimes we need to see everyday habits conveyed via the extreme to really process how, maybe not so good they really can be. As for the cast here, Allison Williams is a rock-solid lead. Violet McGraw continues to prove she's a stellar young star. I also really enjoyed Jen Van Epps and Brian Jordan Alvarez, who played Gemma's co-workers, and also Ronnie Chang, who was very much just going for it as Gemma's boss at the toy company, and he seemed to really be enjoying it. I was enjoying it. The real star of the movie, though, is M3GAN herself, so it does feel necessary to point out that M3GAN was created using VFX, animatronics, and puppetry, and also a physical performance from Amy Donald, and then also a voice performance from Jenna Davis. It all comes together and works really well. It never leans too doll-like or too lifelike, and having that balance is vital to this concept working. It finds that very specific middle ground where something does always feel slightly off, but you could still really believe in how real M3GAN seems. Kayla Cooper and James Wan came up with this really fun concept here. But we also have seen our fair share of creepy dolls and AI gone wrong stories, so this movie winds up in a position where it easily could have felt like a dime a dozen, but thanks to a really sharp script, excellent execution, and just everyone involved seemingly knowing what kind of movie they're making, M3GAN is very much that holy shit type of horror comedy that the trailers have been selling. I'm gonna go ahead and give M3GAN 4 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Decimovie scale. Why'd I shave off a point there? There might be a small handful of story and performance beats that were a little bit off, but really nothing that impacts the overall experience. And that overall experience is just a downright blast. And if you're wondering about the PG-13 versus R rating thing, you guys know, yeah, I like my horror movies gory, and I do tend to often marvel at the artistry that goes into pulling off those gore effects, but I'm actually really glad that they went PG-13 with this film, because not only does the lack of very visible carnage never take away from the experience, but I also think one of the most exciting things about M3GAN is the fact that it truly does feel like the kind of movie that a young budding horror fan can beg their parents to take them to see, a real gateway starter movie. And, whenever I talk about kids seeing horror movies, I do always like to point out I am not one to be judging what is best for anyone's children, but at the very least, I can tell you that if M3GAN had come out when I was young, it wouldn't have kept me up at night, but also would have become a horror movie that I likely would have been obsessed with, wouldn't be able to stop talking about, and would probably also be really excited to say that I saw. So to think about other young horror fans out there feeling that way about this film is just very exciting to me. That's where I'm going to leave you on M3GAN. If and when you see this film, you got to hit that comment section. I need to know what you think about this movie. It is wild. A big thank you to everybody out there for watching this review, and also a very happy 2023 to all of you. This right here, again, review number 1. This is only the start. Many, many more to come.